You can hear this. You are not alone. This is the resistance.
What's up, everyone? This is YouTuber Resistance 2058. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. And today I'm continuing my video vlog on Your Rights Vigilante, and I'm going to talk about his plan, which he just calls the YRV, the Your Rights Volunteer. And basically what this plan is, and why Anonymous shot it down, in my opinion, is he wants to reform the government. His whole notion is that the corporations are paying the top candidate contenders for offices in the political system, and all the other contenders don't even get airtime because they don't have the money, because the corporations and whatnot are backing them. He doesn't even care to acknowledge the globalist aspect of things. He doesn't acknowledge the Illuminati or any of that. He just focuses on the corporation aspect. And his whole idea is to promote the other candidates, the ones that don't get noticed, and, you know, get them the publicity that they need to have a fighting chance to gain the candidacy. But there's several problems with that. One, and I've pointed out all these problems, but, and he just totally blew it off like I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But, anybody who has paid attention and is an activist knows about this shit. His plan won't work because, one, the globalists own the INS voting machines. They put who they want in office, regardless of who the backers are financially for the candidates. The end result is a rigged election. It is literally a rigged election. And two, even if he got the information out there and, it wasn't rigged and they didn't own the INS voting machines and all that shit, just to make sure that their candidates get elected, the corporations would see to it that his information that he was spreading out for everybody else was suppressed. He wouldn't get his shit out there because they'd shut him down. And, that's just part of his plan. He goes on to say that, the first part of the plan is good, minus those factors that pretty much killed it that I just pointed off. But the real kicker here is that in order to maintain the working governmental system where it is back to the people and whatnot, we need a centralized super government to control all the governments of the world. Basically, he's saying another UN, another United Nations. And I pointed out to this guy, I was like, dude, they tried that. It didn't work. It's called the United Nations. And, he's stuck on this idea that, in order to maintain the governments and keep the governments from getting corrupted, we need a super government to babysit them all. And this government is run not by the people, but by himself and 500 of his friends and supporters. These people aren't voted in or anything. He says he wants to give the power back to the people, and then appoints himself arbitrator. And then after this all came out, he quickly changed his tune and gave the title of arbitrator over to a buddy of his But the problem with that is the reign of power in that proposed system is still within his little clique, and the people don't have a say. So, and I explained to him, nobody's going to go for this shit because, one, nobody wants a one world government. Two, you say you're giving the right to the people, and then appointing the first 500 supporters. And three, you're pretty much making yourself the head of this whole thing without a vote or anything. And, where he really shoots himself in the foot on this is in his video. It's on his channel. You can check this out. The arbitrator reserves the right to hire and fire whoever he wants in this 500-person governmental system. And, everybody beyond that 500 government system, is everybody else. He says, everybody can be a part of this, but there's 500 centralized people who, at any given point in time, can up and fire if they don't agree with him. So basically, he's making himself a freaking dictator in his own mind, as far as his little game and operation goes. And I tried explaining to him all these factors and that nobody would buy it. And, I can't see anybody with rational thinking who knows about this shit, knows about all the problems and why the New World Order is taking shape, would even support it. And he doesn't want to listen. He's stuck on his high horse. He's so convinced that his pipe dream's going to work, and he's just stuck in his own little notion of delusions of grandeur. And like I've mentioned in my previous video, if anybody doesn't agree with him, he throws a temper tantrum because it's his way or the highway. You're either with him or against him. And, that's not going to win this guy's supporters. And, I tried explaining that to him, and he just goes back to the same old shit. He doesn't listen. He hears what he wants to hear, does what he wants to do. In his mind, he's right. Anybody who doesn't agree with him is wrong, and we're all terrorists and can go to hell. But, that's pretty much the gist of this guy's plan, Beyond that, not a whole lot more you can say on the matter. But my next video, I'm going to read off the emails. So, till then, if you're watching this, you are the resistance.